Hey everyone, it's Kathy Sugis with Cedar Row. Our business, Cedar Row, is arts and crafts. My daughter and I do all kinds of different arts and crafts. And one of the things that I do is dot painting. So I thought it would be fun to do a video on dot painting, but also not just using all the tools that I have at my disposal, but just household items that you can use to create some pretty incredible pieces of art. So this is what dot painting is. This is on an album, actually a vinyl album that was scratched up and damaged. And these are 45. And here's a CD. You got all kinds of extra CDs, blank CDs, especially. What do you use? You know, most of the time they say coasters. Well, you can also make them. You can paint both sides and make them pretty sun spinners. You can dot paint on cardstock, on canvas, on wood. What do you do with them? You can frame them and make them look really cool with some pretty paper in the background. There's just tons that you can do with dot painting. I mean, it's just but I am going to bring it back to the basics, and we're going to do using household objects. So let's get started. So I'm just going to start with a square. And find the midpoint of the square so that we can start our mandala. And to do that, you just go corner to corner to find where you want to start your middle dot. Here's some of the things that I've pulled together that I'm going to use and show you. Drill bits. Drill bits are great. Everybody's got drill bits in their garage, right? One of these cute little sets that you pick up at the dollar store. You can use the flat side of the drill bit. Q-tips are great. A nail, you can use the flat side of the nail, and nails have all different sizes on the heads here, and then the tip also can be a nice dot. Toothpicks are great. You can use markers, you can use the flat side of a marker, you can use caps off of products. This is nail polish remover. If you want really big dots, if you have smaller children you're doing this with, you can use the cap of, dry shampoo or whatever. You can use a pencil, the tip of the pencil, or the eraser of a pencil. You can use knitting needles. I don't have any of those, but if you have knitting needles, you can use knitting needles. You can use skewers. You can use both this side as well as the tip side. So you can use all kinds of different things, and you can probably find other things around your house that you have. But this is what I'm using right now. So what we're doing is we're using just basic cheap paint, which is the Apple Barrel paint. So most everybody has some kind of cheap poster paint or acrylic paint like this, especially if you've got kiddos around. So I'm going to start, I'm actually going to just use this as my middle dot. This particular one, when I did it, is the cap of the nail polish remover. So you can see it makes a nice dot, but in order to use something big like that, you have to have it on a plate. I don't like to have a lot of waste, shall we say, because what you can usually do is you just pour a little bit into the cap, and then you never have waste because then you just cap your paint back, which is really nice. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to try, and this is, if you don't get it right in the middle, it's okay, but we're going to just take and we're going to put paint here on the marker. Now, the one thing about Apple Barrel is it's a lot thinner, so just be careful that because it is a little thinner. And you just place your first dot. Then you also need some paper towel because you need to wipe everything off after you dot. So you wipe that paint off the whatever you use. And now we're going to pick up one of these drill bits, I think, and we're just going to kind of go around like what I did here. We're going to go around and do a smaller dot around the big dot. And you start off here, like at the bottom, and then you go to the top, and then to the right, and then to the left, and then you go right in between. And if things aren't perfect, it's okay. It's just fun. And you can really make some really neat looking art with this. Now we're going to take something a little bit bigger and we're going to use a different color. We're going to bring in the purple. You go in between those two pink dots, like so. And you go all the way around. If you need to move your paper, please move your paper. And then you wipe off your... Now we're going to go back with the pink and we're going to do smaller dots. So let's bring in this great skewer. Or you can use your toothpick or a nail or something that's got a little bit of a smaller point to it. And what you do is you come down to the bottom of the purple dot, you press it once, and then you do walking the dots all the way up to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you pick up more paint. You go again at the bottom and you go up the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You try to do the same amount of dots, but sometimes you don't. It's all right. So let's just go around each of these purple dots. I'm going to take this and put a dot in here. Sometimes you can get 2 dots out of one pickup of paint. But 3 dots gets to be a little not as good, so you definitely need a little bit more there. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my pencil and I'm going to go ahead and try using my pencil. And I'm just going to dip it in and we're going to go do the walking of the dots with the white. Okay, so there we go. We've got that one done, and now we're going to come in and we're going to put some light pink dot. Pink dot here in between each of the white dots. It is helpful to turn your paper. And then you have that. And now one of the things you can also do, another way I like to, instead of just walking the dots from the middle and going down, walking them up around the dot, is coming from the side and walking them over. You can do that also. So let's try and see how that looks. And there you go. And you could just keep on going. From here, you could go in and do another color, introduce another color, or you could, what would be kind of interesting is having a white dot then, and come in and start doing a white dot, and you just continue until you are finished with whatever you want to do, whatever you think your project is. Sometimes you look at it and it's like, well, what do I do now? Is it done? Maybe it's done. Sometimes less is more. But you just continue then, and you can bring in more colors. You can do whatever you feel like you want to do. After it dries, you can do something called top dots. Now I'm going to bring this one back here that I had already done. Top dots, obviously, is dotting on top of the dots. So you want to bring in, this is where I kind of like to bring in like metallics or glitter paint or something like that. But all I have is, we're just using the stuff that we have at home. If you have them at home, great. But you want to use like a different color, and you go on top. So I'm just going to kind of show you. Let's bring in a smaller drill bit, since these were drill bits. So on the pink there, I'm just going to show you on the pink, and I'm going to use the darker pink on them, and I'm going to put a dot on top. And so these are called top dots. And it can really make your mandala look really interesting and cool. You can, and even if you could do another top dot even on top of that darker pink. You can come in with a white and a smaller even dot of a white, just to, sometimes it's just giving that pop of color. Boom. So let me just, I gotta complete this. Okay, so that's another thing you can do, is you can jazz things up a little bit with top dots. But that's it in a nutshell. I just did a very quick demonstration